And in this episode, we continue from where we stopped last time, which is the front end of our web application. And now we build the back end. What we have done last time. For those of you who hasn't watched the previous video, I recommend you to watch it so that you can understand what we are going to do now. And that is the way it look like. So now we check the front end. This is the UI, the way it look like. So now we are going to set the functionality of every button on our front end. So for those of you who hasn't subscribed and are still watching my videos, please subscribe, turn on the notification bell so that you can receive video like this. Thank you. So to do that, let's go back to our Visual Studio. So inside our Visual Studio here, what are we going to do? First thing first, we are going to set a script, and inside that script we are going to set up also our local storage, because if you notice inside our login HTML we have this function here, function pass value, and inside this function we can set a local storage which is inserting a username which has been entered inside our login input, the username there. It will be installed inside the boss value here. So this is what this line of code does. So it will insert that username inside the boss value, and now we are going to grab that username and display it where we are going to display it here. So that is what we are going to do now. So to do that, what are we going to do? It's very simple. We are going to use document dot get element by 1 minute. We have to set the script tags first. So inside that script tags we'll be having document dot get element by id, and we'll be using the username which will be inner HTML equal to local storage dot get item boss value. Oh, sorry, we have to put where the name has been stored. So boss value. So that is it, guys. So next thing we are going to do now, you'll notice that we have to set here the date and time. So we are going to put the actual date here. So guys, let's do that, and that is it. So let's go. We'll be putting variable. We'll first of all declare variable date, which will be giving a method date to it, and that method, now we just be using document. We are going to grab our date time. So we'll be taking element get element by id, and we'll be doing date time dot inner HTML equal to date. So let's see if what we have done is working actually. So let me refresh it and see. So guys, you can see now that we have Friday, September 16, 2022, blah 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 at the end. So normally we're supposed to use another. We have to do find some way to remove the. We want only the date and the time. We don't need all the GMT plus 00. So for the moment it's not necessary. So we just forget about it. So now what are we going to do? We go straight to our Firebase. I think yes, we are going to configure our Firebase by using our script type module, and we just copy and paste. I think that is all. But before that, we are going to do something. You will notice that. Okay. So we will notice that in our pop-up here, we can go down. When we can go down below, we can go below 0. What we don't want, because when someone is selecting the quantity, we don't want the fact that the number inside our quantity input box here should be negative. We want it to be positive. It should be rather 1 or above 1, not 0 or below 0. So now you can see that when you are clicking it, it can go below 0. What we don't want. So to do that, what are we going to do? We are just going to set a simple function. We are just going to set a simple function, as I said, and that function we stop when we are clicking the arrow, the down arrow. When we reach 1, it won't allow us to go below 1. So to do that, what are we going to do? We are just going to set a simple function. As I said it, that function will be, we grab our variable input point equal to document dot get element by ID, which is items number. So that is it. Let me space it out small and comment it. Let me just put function to avoid let me just put function for input quantity. That is all. So now we have declared variable input point equal to document get element by ID input number. So you can see that inside our HTML document at the top here, let's go down. Let me see where normally is it. It's here. You can see that the ID here is items number. So is this ID we are grabbing, and we are giving a value of input quantity 2. So right after that, what are we going to do? We are going to set now a function. That function will be function. Okay. We'll be having a function quantity. So function quantity change. We name it quantity change. And we'll be putting our curly bracket. And now, first thing we are going to do, we are going to use a if condition. And if inside that if condition, we'll be using is none. Is none. So for is none function is standing for not and number. It's why we are using it, and we are using that function, and we are applying it to our quantity value. And we'll be using an operator which will be or. We are just saying if the number inside this quantity is not a number, or input quantity value is inferior or equal to 0, what will be happening? We have this application input quantity dot value equal to 1. So let me break it down for you guys. I'm using a if condition. That if inside that if condition, we'll be using is none method, and is none method is standing for none and number. We are just checking that if our input quantity dot value if it's not a number, or if that number is inferior or equal to 0, input quantity dot value equal to 1. So that is it. So it's what we are applying actually to it. So let's see how it works. But before to do that, we have to apply that function. We have to give that function. So to do that, to give that function, we go straight to our HTML document. We go to where that is it. Our quantity is, that is the quantity, which is this is the input value, and we'll be applying a onClick function to it. That onClick will be having quantity change function. So that is it. So now we check if how it works, or if it's working. So because sometimes we can encounter some mistakes. So we will check how it's working, and let me check again if everything have set is right. Okay, so let's go to now our front end and see how actually is working. I can see that. Okay guys, you can see now that actually our function is working, because anytime I press to the down arrow button, you see that he doesn't want to go to 0. Anytime I click on it, is 0, and you see that the 0 is appearing, and now immediately it turns to 1. So is what our function actually does. So it's working. So that is it, guys. So right after that, what are we going to do? We are now going to set our Firebase. We are using Firebase as a cloud service, so we are going to set it. So for that one, we just copy and paste. We are going to do nothing very difficult, because I already explained it on our previous videos. This is why I already recommend that people who are watching new videos should try their best to watch the previous one. If not, they will be stuck. They won't understand what we are doing. So that is it. And the script type module, and we close it. And we just do what? We just go to our admin. We just copy. Simple. We copy all this. We just copy it. All this. This one. We copy it. And we do what? We do what? We do what? Okay. We copy it up to the database here. Copy, and we paste it here. So that is it. Okay guys, so that is it. That is just what you are going to do here. And now we are going to declare our variable. That is what we are going to do the next. So guys, now you can see I finished declaring all the variables. So you can see I have just read at the top. You can see ready data, and down you can see all the variable which has been declared. And right after that, what are we going to do? We are going to set now our selection. We name it selection process. Selection process. So inside our selection process, what are we going to do? We just use document dot get element by ID, and we'll be grabbing our select, and that select will be dot on click. When we click on it, what will be is on click. On click, what will be happening to it? We see right now. It will be equal to a function, and that function, what is inside that function? So now I'll explain to you what are we trying to do. All our data is inside our cloud base. The moment that the administrator has inserted drugs the quantity, the expiring date, all the data has been installed inside our cloud base. So now we are going to get that data, and we are going to get not all the data but a specific data. Let's say they have so many drugs name inside the data. I'm going just to get one name. So that is what we are going to do. And when we come to here, we can see that we are having, please, if you cannot see, sorry, at the back here. So let me just put the hiding back. So you can see that we have this wide input box here. So anytime that we enter a drugs, we are just asking that the system should go inside our cloud base and check the drug we have been entered there and display all the child of that drug to us. So when we type the drug name here, we click enter. We are just asking that she should go to the database. The drug which has been entered here inside our input box here, she should go and check that drug data element, all the child of that drug, which is the name, the quantity, the price, and the expiring date. She should go and fetch it for us and display to us here. I will just show you. And display to us here, which will be the drug name, the quantity, the stock we are having, and the price. So that is what we are actually going to do now. So to do that, what are we going to do? We are going now to, we are already setting a function. So inside that function, we will be having our cons db ref, and that ref will be equal to db. So that is it. That is the first thing we are going to do. Now we are going to use the get method. Inside that get method, we'll be having a child because we are going to get a child of the element we want, and we'll be having the db again, which will be the ref as an argument, first argument, and the second one we are going to get the folder in which that drug name is. So we'll be typing drugs where the folder we want to go and fetch the details of that drug. So it will be drugs because that is the folder, and we'll be using now the name which has the inset as a reference. We are going to use the name which has the inset inside our input box as a reference so that we can get what we want from the cloud base, exactly what we want from the cloud base. So for that, we'll be putting an input dot value dot, we'll be using it then promise, and inside we'll be having our snapshot and right after that it will be equal to, that snapshot will be equal to this. So inside that this is our then promise, if I can say that, we'll be having our drug, we'll be doing drug name dot inner html equal to snapshot dot value dot drug ID, because exactly the value we want is inside our drug ID. So we are going to grab it from there, and we will repeat the same process too with our stock, which will be stock dot value equal to the snapshot dot value dot drug quantity. that is it, guys. And we do the same thing to drugs price dot inner this equal to snapshot dot value dot drugs price. So that is it, guys. We are done. And before anything, we are going to add inside this function a style function. So we will be doing document dot get element by id, and we'll be taking our pop-up because our pop-up actually show up all the time. So now we are going to apply a function to it to show it when we want it. So we just put dot style dot visibility equal to visible. So that is it. So I think now we can check and see how it's working. Okay, guys, before to check how it's working, we are going to make some few changes. For the drugs, the ID is supposed to be drugs, not drug. It's supposed to be drugs name. I had put drug before, so it's supposed to be drugs name. And here, when we come to the quantity has to have a value. It's not supposed to be value. It's supposed to be 1. And I think that is all. And here too, the drugs name dot is supposed to be inner text, not inner HTML. And let's think too. When we come to the document get element by ID, is pop up the U supposed to be in big character. So it's not supposed to be a lowercase. It's supposed to be a main character. So it's supposed to be an uppercase. So it will be pop up with the U uppercase. So that is it. And I think that is all. So now let's test. Okay, guys. So now I hope that you people remember that in our previous video we have set a drug inside our cloud base, which let me show you. It's here. This is it. You can see that we are in our database here, our cloud base here. We have this drug here, aspirin, which is that is actually the only drugs here. So that is it. So we are going to grab it from there. So we are just going to type aspirin, and we put enter. So when we put the enter, you will see that you will see that we have our drug name aspirin, we have the stock exactly, we have the quantity, and the quantity now we can either increase it, decrease it, depending on our customer requirement. If what they are buying is 2 or 3, we can increase it or decrease it. We have our price, which is 20 cedis normally, and now we haven't set the function of the OK yet. So that is it, guys. That is what we want, and that is our code is working perfectly accordingly to what we want. So guys, that is it. That will be all for today. If you like the video, just put a like, because a like is like a prayer for YouTube algorithm. So please subscribe to the channel, and you'll be receiving video like this. Thank you.